All right, you guys, Collision. First of all, this opening match here, the 2 out of 3 falls match, with FTR and Jane Juice, in my opinion, best tag team match so far this year. I absolutely enjoyed this. Now, they had a really great match last week, and I was kind of thinking, well, I don't know if they can top that. And they absolutely did this week, and I enjoyed it so much. The crowd was on fire tonight with both Collision and Battle of the Belts, and you could tell that they really enjoyed what these two teams were doing in the ring, and it was really great. So if you didn't see it, man, go check it out. It's really, really good. Pay-per-view quality match. Now, obviously, going into the match, you're not going to think that they're going to use their whole time limit. Well, just about their whole time limit. So, honestly, I thought that it wouldn't take too long. Maybe 30 minutes, probably 40 minutes max. But I didn't think they was going to end up using just about 60 minutes for this match. Now, it does take a little bit over 20 minutes for them to get the first pinfall, which was... Juice and Jay, they end up getting the first pin. Now, within that first 20 minutes, I'm telling you, it was pretty much Dax in the ring for the most part. And every time Dax got pinned, here come Cash running in to make sure they aren't the first team to get pinned. Now, that's not a bad thing, but at some point, it's like, you kind of look like you don't have a lot of faith in your partner. So that's just something that I was observing throughout the match. The next pin was like 40 minutes in, and that was obviously FTR. So now each team got a pin or whatnot. Now, they did such a phenomenal job that, I'll be honest, I wouldn't even have cared if FTR would have lost this title. You know, it wouldn't even have bothered me since they did such a great job with this. However, after that second pin, they do take it outside the ring for a little bit, just around the ring and even behind the barricades as well. They had like a little bit of a weird moment with Dax and Jay where they both were like knocked over the barricade. And then we had the doctors that came and checked on them. And after about a minute or so, they both agreed that they was going to continue with the match. Once they're outside the barricade, there's no padding on the floor. So they hit the concrete and you really couldn't see how of an awkward landing it was because the barricade was in the way. So the camera didn't really get a good shot of that. But they were okay and they continued the match. Now, after a couple of suplexes outside the ring, Dax and Cash are in. And now Jay, he is still laid the fuck out on the outside the ring, and now they have to get in because the ref is counting to 10. So then Juice ends up helping Jay get into the ring. Jay gets into the ring, and right when that happened, then they announced that there's 5 more minutes left in the match. And I'm just like, holy shit. So now all 4 of these guys are in the ring. They're all staring each other down, and the crowd is absolutely on fire, cheering. They're loving exactly what these guys are giving them. But all 4 of these guys are getting cheered by everyone in the building. So now is the 4 of them, and they're going at it blow for blow. And then here comes Dax putting Jay into a sharpshooter. Then Juice is going to break it up, and then Cash, he puts Juice in a sharpshooter too. So now we got a double sharpshooter here, and obviously, Jay's a legal man, so if he taps, then the match is over. So then we have both of them facing each other while they're both getting into a sharpshooter, and Juice is holding on to Jay's hands to make sure he doesn't tap. So I like that. I thought that was kind of cute. And what ended up happening is that Dax's knee gives up, so he breaks out of the sharpshooter, and Juice goes out the ring. And that gives an opportunity for Juice to tag Jay to get in, because we had Dax who's over here tending to his knee, and he's actually removing his knee pads. I guess it's bothering him or whatever. But when Juice gets into the ring, he puts Juice into a sharpshooter, and Juice actually ends up tapping out. And there's like literally less than 2 minutes. Now, to be honest, because there's so little time left, honestly, I would have let this go to a draw. I would have let Dax have him in the sharpshooter, and he's just gonna ride it out until the time goes, because at least he didn't tap and that they wouldn't have taken a loss, you know? So that's the route I would have went with it. But I mean, the way I'm describing it probably don't do it justice. Like, you really got to see it. It was done so nicely. After this match, FTR goes to shake their hands, and Juice and Jay pretty much spit at their boots and walk off. But man, it was such a great match. I really do wish it ended with a draw, because now we could have continued and have something more going on with these guys. I don't know if they're going to continue a feud with them. I kind of do hope so, but if they ended with a draw, I think it would have been best. This was an absolute A+. I enjoyed this so much. So next we had video promos from BCC and Elite. They're basically promoting the whole Blood and Guts match next week for Dynamite. And I really, really liked the videos that they did. Honestly, it took a little bit of time. So I was kind of worried, because we already done sat through an hour match. Obviously there's commercials and entrances and all this stuff or whatever. So we were like close to an hour and 15 minutes in. So I was like, they should have cut this down a little bit. But either way, they're hyping people up for the match. Now, next we do have for the finals for the Women's Owen Hart Tournament Cup, Willow versus Ruby, and both these girls are wearing pink, so that's great. Ruby is still wearing green, but she added some pink onto it. It was cute. While the match was great, my biggest complaint here is, just because someone is heel, they don't need to fucking cheat every single match. And I understand that this is something that the Outcasts are constantly doing. Great thing that we didn't have any interferences, because that would have really taken away from the match. What we have here, though, is Ruby. She's trying to use the spray paint can to spray into Willow so she can get the win. And she tries this twice in the match, and it didn't work out. I think it just takes away from the match, to be completely honest with you. Like, you can be a heel and lose fairly or win fairly. Every single match, you don't have to keep resulting to the whole cheating thing. And it's like, in the beginning of the show, they actually had promos for every single match. And that's one thing I like about Collision. Before the show starts, you get promos from everybody so you can get into the show. And Ruby, when she's talking about it, she talks about it like this whole thing is so important for her to win. But then y'all result to having her cheat to try to win. It just felt like this should not have been the route that they should have gone with. Anyway, Willow ends up taking a win, and I knew the babyface was going to get it. Honestly, I would have given it to Ruby. This is Ruby's second time making it to the finals in this tournament. And I would have loved to see a heel advance, a heel win something that's supposed to be really big and important. But anyway, Willow takes the win. I'm okay with that. Now, we do also have another video from last week with QT, who goes into Hobbs' dressing room explaining what happened. And then he says something like, oh, if I have to fight the biggest and baddest person in AEW to show you how sorry I am, I'll do that. So then Hobbs is like, okay, well, remember you said that. So I don't know. Most likely he's going to end up fighting some big dude and probably end up losing. Or it might even just be Hobbs as far as biggest and baddest dude in AEW goes. However, though, I do think here that's not what was supposed to happen, because on Rampage, he was actually supposed to be confronting, well, not confronting, but speaking to Hobbs live about what happened. So they said that last night on Rampage, but instead they gave us a video from last week. So I don't know what ended up happening with that. Maybe it was because of time or whatever. I don't know. Honestly, I want Hobbs to be away from this whole crazy stuff. I'm just not into it at all. So next we have Malachi Black and Brody King. They're going against some two jobbers. Honestly, I didn't hear their names. I barely saw their faces. This is pretty much a squash match. However, during this match, we do have Andrade, who's trying to make his way into the ring. He wants his damn mask back. Now, we do have referees and staff who are keeping him from getting into the ring. Malachi and Brody, they are not phased. They continue their match. They take the win. And then we see Malachi sitting in the middle of the ring with Andrade's mask. And Andrade is like screaming, like, give me my damn mask back. Now, things are getting interesting. However, once again, I don't feel like there's probably going to be any sign of LFI getting involved in the situation. It just seems like Andrade is trying to take care of business all on his own. So that right there kind of worries me a little bit, because it's like, how is he going to take care of three big ass dudes like the House of Black? He's definitely going to need some help. So we'll see where the storyline goes. All right, you guys, main event time. We have the finals for the Owen Hart men's tournament. CM Punk versus Pretty Ricky Starks. Okay, first of all, when CM Punk comes out, they are booing. There were some cheers, but the boos are definitely louder than the cheers. There's something that you really see that's different this week compared to Punk's match with Samoa Joe. Was that Punk was so cocky in this match. He was not like that with Samoa Joe, and it's so noticeable. And I know they were playing on that heavily in this match, but it really made me feel like, we're getting the old CM Punk back because, he's being so cocky in this match. And it just made me feel a little bit more like maybe he might end up taking this. Now, I'm all about the young talent here. Ricky Starks has been putting in the work, and I really believe that, he should take this win over somebody like Punk. Punk has held the AEW title twice. He's had so much accomplishments in his career. So, like, what is this tournament to him for him to win? Anyway, they have a really great match. Once again, the pacing is slower. Like we know, Punk hasn't been in the ring for quite some time. So kudos to Ricky for working at a slower pace. Like I said, he was being really cocky here. But I still like their chemistry. I knew they would have great chemistry in the ring. I just know that everyone is just really paying attention to see how well CM Punk can do. Now, there was a point in this match where CM Punk throws Ricky outside of the ring. Then the crowd just boos the hell out of him. And he goes and sit on the rope and open it up so that Ricky can come back into the ring. And the crowd booed him. Like, he did it with like a smart ass. Like, he did it like so cocky. And I was just like laughing because I thought it was really funny. But I was like, where was this energy last week with Samoa Joe? You was not being like this at all. So Ricky comes in the ring and they continue the match. Now, this is the main event. And there was fucking 2 commercial breaks. I really feel like main events should be commercial free. Obviously, they got to pay to do something like that. But it really takes away from the match, especially if it's a main event and you were having 2 commercials. That's absolutely insane. We do have a point in this match where Ricky goes to do an elbow drop onto CM Punk. Very last second, CM Punk sits up, Ricky hits the mat, and he's laughing. And the crowd is booing. And I'm just like, I love the fact that he's being his usual self. And, with him being that way and people already have been booing him anyway, that's just him kind of taking control of the crowd a bit. So I really appreciated that. So, the match continues. And like I said, it was a slower pace. It did pick up a little bit towards the end. Obviously, they always pick things up. Now, we do have here Ricky, he goes and spears CM Punk, but he spears him so close to the ropes that Punk ends up flying out through the ropes and onto the ground. Everybody's excited about that. obviously because they don't like Punk. But then here comes Ricky. He sits on the rope, opens the rope up for CM Punk so CM Punk could get in. And Punk is pissed off that he's using his move onto him. And he decides he's not getting into the ring. And the crowd boos him for not getting into the ring. It's absolutely funny. I like how, they're playing off each other in that way. Anyway, CM Punk get in the ring. And like a few seconds later, Ricky goes to give him another spear. And when Ricky goes for the spear, you got to see this part because this is really, really cool. When he goes for the spear, he hits it, but Punk caught him in a way and countered it into a guillotine. And I just thought that was absolutely insane. Now, what ends up happening is that Ricky puts his foot on the rope. So, he has to let go. Ricky rolls him up. And ref counts. Then Punk rolls him up. Then Ricky reverses that again into another roll up. And while Ricky has him in a roll up, Ricky is holding onto the ropes and the ref can't see where the ref is at. And 1, 2, 3, Ricky took the win. I was so shocked that it ended like that. Punk is shocked. Punk is telling the ref, like, hey, this bitch had his hand holding onto the ropes. Nothing he can do because the ref didn't see it. Ricky just runs out and he go towards the ramp. Now, when he's going up the ramp, we do have Jushin Thunder Liger who comes out to present the trophy to Ricky. Ricky snatched that trophy right out of his hand and ran to the bag. I was just like, oh my God. So he just went full blown heel on us within like 15 minutes. That's just absolutely insane. This was another really great match. I really enjoyed this. This really made me feel like CM Punk has, I don't know, like he's feeling more comfortable in the ring. I do think that he can take the pace up a notch in the ring. But other than that, I love seeing his typical personality in the ring. Now, after this match, we do have CM Punk who embraces David Benoit. He's ringside front row watching the show. So that was really cool to see. It was a really great show. I really enjoyed this. I do recommend, check out the whole show. Nothing was really wrong with this other than what I told you about with the women's match. But everybody did a really great job here. I really enjoyed this. The first match is an absolute banger. Main event is really, really great too. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with Ricky Starks. Guys, thanks so much for watching my review. I'll be back with the results from Battle of the Belts.